What do city people not understand about country life? Story 1. When your country friend tells you not to touch the giant hogweed because it causes burns, don't touch the giant hogweed. So many of my friends didn't listen to me that day and had nasty burns and rashes all along their bodies because they decided to take a shortcut through a caustic plant. It seems this plant is widespread in America. I come from Ireland and it's an ornamental plant. I have only ever encountered it in an arboretum where it hasn't seemed to have spread outside of. We went on a field trip to this arboretum, and it just so happens my parents have year-long family passes, and so I have been to that place a bazillion times and have been warned about it since I was young. I warned my friends who had never encountered it before, but they didn't listen. Story 2. The distance between necessary places. When I was in high school, my friends and I would have to pile into someone's van/truck and drive 50 minutes to go to the movie theaters. The mall was an hour away. The grocery store was 30 minutes away, the gas station was 15 minutes away. The city has all of the businesses and services you need pretty much right where you need it. In the country, you gotta spend sometimes hours in the car to get where you need to go. I have very pleasant, nostalgic memories of my buddies and I jumping in the car and spending the evening going to Taco Bell. That was the goal of the whole trip. 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back just to pick up some cheap quesadillas for $5, and we loved it. So many summer nights as a teen just driving around back roads with no goal, looking for shit to do. Cherry Valley, New York represent. Story 3. I firmly believe the closer to live to a city the less freedom you have. I find the opposite. It really comes with the key difference in types of freedom, though. In a city you have freedom to, in that there's a ton of opportunity for you to take advantage of. People also don't really pay attention to you if you're not directly affecting them. There's just too many other people around, so you'll disappear into the background. There's less pressure to conform, since people just don't care as much if you do. In the country you have more freedom from, in that government cares less about you and restricts you less. Do what you want on your own property. But your choice of what you're able to do is less. Fewer opportunities. Less going on around you to be part of. Also, more social restriction. People care more about what you specifically are doing, as you stand out a lot more. This can push more conformity and social restrictions. Story 4. Exactly. The rural area where I live is 35 miles from the nearest sheriff's substation. They patrol an area that is about 100 miles x 100 miles, an area 10,000 square miles. They do the best they can based on how few sheriffs there are. Recently they announced that they would not longer patrol at night, and we were on our own with squatters on our land, vandalism, theft, and other minor crimes. So, we are on our own. Shrug. We have volunteer fire departments only. The one hospital is about in the center of the area, so getting an immediate ambulance is out of the question. Fortunately, we live near both the hospital and the local volunteer fire department. There are no actual cities in this area. Just small clusters of people. The largest is about 2,800 people. I'm not complaining, mind you. I like it like this. Because the positives of rural living outweigh the inconveniences. However, we realize we are on our own and have to protect ourselves because government help is not going to be coming immediately. Report a serious crime? Expect at least an hour response time. Too late by then. Better be armed and ready to protect yourself and rely on your neighbors. This is just the way it is, and frankly the way it always has been. The protect yourself mantra isn't about home invasion or zombies. It is about wildlife predators like mountain lions, foxes, coyotes, and others who threaten your livestock. Poultry, pets, etc. We are more likely to be dealing with theft of equipment, cars, and tools than the zombie apocalypse. Guns are just another tool to use when you live in the country. Story 5. On a related note, I never realized how a knack for fixing stuff is regarded as a pseudo-superpower to some of my city friends. Growing up broke and in the middle of nowhere, if you couldn't fix it, you couldn't have it. The cheap cars we bought needed maintenance, or we weren't driving anywhere. Our old house constantly needed maintenance, and we couldn't afford to hire someone to do it. DIY wasn't a hobby, it was imperative to doing what you needed to do. I bought my first car at 15 for $180 in 2014 because it was an old van that would crank but wouldn't start. A $30 fuel pump later and I had wheels. I was so blown away when people are so quick to throw things out instead of learning how to fix them. I've saved some pretty cool stuff that people have left on the curb for garbage pickup just because they just threw it out. Their loss is my gain, I suppose? Story 6. The closest grocery store is literally a 25-minute drive away. Tractors will cause you to be late for work. Commuting in my 4x4 truck alone doesn't make a lot of sense, but buying a second vehicle costs too much and I need the truck for work around the house. Public transit/taxis literally don't exist. Cops/paramedics are really far away when you need one. But sitting on the side of the road next to your driveway when you don't, we will kill a boar or coyote any opportunity we have. They are dangerous and overpopulated. Some of us are incredibly particular about what you flush down the toilet or sink drain. Septic tanks can be finicky and incredibly expensive to repair. Well, water tastes fucking amazing or fucking horrible. Luck of the draw can go either way depending on your property. No, you can't buy any of my property that appears to be unused and overgrown. Get the fuck off my land now. Friday nights in the fall are reserved for high school football. Saturdays are for Little League football. We'll see you at the pizza place after the game. Even if our teams are mortal enemies. If your family lives in the same town for generations. You do really have to be careful who you date. It can get weird fast. Story 7. Back at 2:30. Sign is more of a ballpark than the actual time someone will be back at the shop. No, there really is no antibacterial soap, and yes, you might be a little dirty when you sit down to dinner. It won't kill you. There are no streetlights. Don't go out after dark unless you have a decent car or a fantastically good flashlight. The bats aren't gonna kill you, but they might mistake your hair for a pile of mosquitoes. They dive bomb you because they think you have food. Don't be rude on a dirt road. Odds are whoever you were rude to is headed to the same location, and will probably be waiting on you when you arrive. If someone tells you not to do something and then doesn't explain why, don't do it. Yeah, it might be a prank on the city slicker, but ask yourself, can I afford to be wrong if it isn't? Story 8. The need to combine trips. You don't follow something at the grocery store and think, no problem, I'll just walk to the corner and grab some sour cream. No. You write that shit down. I just spent 6 hours going to the post office, pharmacy, bank, library, and grocery store. You forget? Looks like you're having dry tacos. Nobody is taking the 45 minutes to drive back to the grocery store for that. It's gonna wait until next week's trip in. That was just going to town, not even to the city. Oh yes, those are two very different things. You can't buy your prom dress until it's time to make a trip to Costco, and also the day we are going out to dinner to celebrate your sister's birthday. The most exciting thing about moving out and getting my own place when I was 20? I could finally get a pizza delivered. So amazing! Almost 10 years later, I still forget from time to time that I have this luxury available.